Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just hit the link in the show description to support now.
Explaining football to the friend who's just there for the nachos? Hard. Tailgating from home like a pro with snacks and drinks everyone will love? An easy win. And with Instacart helping deliver the snack time MVPs to your door, you're ready for the game in as fast as 30 minutes. So you never miss a play or lose your seat on the couch or have to go head-to-head for the last chicken wing. Shop game day faves on Instacart and enjoy $0 delivery fees on your first 3 grocery orders. Offer valid for a limited time. Other fees and terms apply.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous 2-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Writers on Film special report from Cannes. I am joined once more by David Moore, who is the reporter and reviewer for Euronews. Welcome back to the podcast, David.
Thanks for having me back, John.
And we're here because we want to talk about a film which I think both of us would probably agree is certainly up there vying for the top spot in our personal affections when it comes to this festival.
Yay! It is, it really is.
And the name of the film, the director, and etc., etc.
It is The Substance by Coralie Fargeat. And it's a face-melting triumph for me. What did you make of it?
I loved it. This is a filmmaker who started her career with a sort of calling card revenge thriller called Revenge, which was French language, and now this is her first English language film. Stars Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley, who's appearing for the second time on the Quaid. And it is one of those films there's a bit of me who wants to avoid saying too many spoilers because it's such a film about the discovery and the shocks and the twists and the turns that the plot takes. But I will say that there were certain moments where I was clinging on as if my chair was on a roller coaster ride.
Oh yeah, and like squirming and laughing and just like, yeah, it was roller coaster ride is the right thing. And in the interest of not spoiling, I think you can genuinely, everything you need to know about the film is done in the first kind of 2 shots, which is this egg being injected by a syringe and doubling, the nucleus doubles, and then afterwards you get this kind of shot of a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which belongs to this actress, Elizabeth Sparkle, played by Demi Moore, and you see the passage of time. So you've got the rat-a-tat of the paparazzi kind of shots, and then through time you got somebody like walking over it and saying, oh yeah, she played in that film, and then some passerby just spills a burger on it and smears some ketchup all over it, a nice little bit of foreshadowing. And it is about aging.
A deterioration, about feeling that you're becoming part of history rather than the present, and a redundancy ultimately. I was expecting something a bit special, actually. I talked to the film's publicist a few days before this came out, and okay, publicists are going to pump up their own films. In fact, the use of "pump it up" in this that goes out,
pump it up,
that goes throughout this movie. But Jonathan, who was presenting the film, he said this was a special one. It's one to look out on. He used some quite choice epithets to describe it, but all of which kind of you could sum up as being, this is the craziest thing you're going to see this festival.
Oh yeah, and I mean, crazy. I mean, how would you just? I mean, it's like this kind of unholy marriage between Portrait of Dorian Gray. What else? Death Becomes Her. There's a lot of John Carpenter in there, Stanley Kubrick. There's Brian Usner for the a body horror, the Society,
exactly.
And yeah, it is all about this, how the entertainment industry just pushes women to impossible beauty standards, and also potentially how certain medical industries kind of weaponize the fetishization of beauty and youth, but also just the internalized hatred that stems from systemic misogyny, and this external which becomes internal quite literally. And I was completely won over by it. I mean, it's a very intense ride, it's a very graphic ride, and I got everything that I wanted from a David Cronenberg film out of it, and more ultimately. And I think Demi Moore is fantastic in it. I mean, she hasn't been seen on the big screen in a while, and what I really appreciated was how like the film's form just does mirror the content, in the sense that because it is about self-hatred, and that can only be shown in a violent way, and also Demi Moore's casting, which is rather canny because of her trajectory in Hollywood, the fact that the film almost mirrors, and mirrors do play an important part in the film, her trajectory, but also just show how the Hollywood system does cast aside or cast certain women above a certain age, and this addresses it fully.
Of course, Demi Moore is seen on TV recently in the most recent season of Feud, so we could even be talking about, coupled with this film, a demascence.
Oh, you!
And I did not have that prepared. That just came to me while I was thinking about it, as all thoughts do.
Yes,
it has to be said.
One other thing, I mean, like, because it does play like this kind of demented fairy tale, really, and like it is very kind of Brothers Grimm in a big way. And what I liked was, I know there's this criticism of it that it goes into kind of hagsploitation. I didn't see that at all, because I think what Fargeat does rather rather well. I'm not quite sure what word I was going for there. Niftily. That, thank God, that's why you get paid the big bucks. And basically the way she uses the character of Elizabeth, played by Demi Moore, as this kind of amalgamation of fairy tale tropes with regards to women. You've got the ingenue, the mother, and the crone, and she is the once kind of maiden who gives birth as a mother to the new maiden, and is forced by the new maiden to be the crone, and this repeated cycle of this never-ending loop that essentially culminates in a cautionary tale, which says, essentially, be careful what you wish for, but also you are your own worst enemy. And I found that, I mean, it's not particularly like dense. It doesn't kind of go into much detail, and I don't think it's particularly profound. But what it does well. And that fairy tale aspect with those kind of three archetypes of femininity in fairy tales really worked for me.
Yeah, absolutely. It has to be said that the style is hyper-real and theatrical beyond belief. And there's no attempt... I overheard someone talking about the realism or otherwise of its depiction of the TV show and the TV industry at the heart of this film. I think that's a silly way to approach it, because, Dennis Quaid is in this as an over-the-top TV executive who you first are introduced to in an extreme close-up of his face as he urinates and pontificates. And it's... that sort of sets the tone for the rest of the film and his performances, which he's clad in the most wonderful suits as well, it has to be said.
Such good suits, and urinates and pontificates. I want that as the title of my biography. But yeah, no, he's a lot of fun. He's clearly having a lot of fun there, and yeah, he pontificates about how women, reach their fertility peak, at 25, and then it's all down there from from there. And yeah, I just thought it was such a good bit of casting. Also from Margaret Qualley, who doesn't get that much to do, really. I mean, and it is worth saying that, she doesn't have much dialogue, and the lack of dialogue in this film I thought was superb, purely because it gives centre stage to the sound design and the Foley artists, and everything is crisp and really kind of unrelentingly so, and it really just instills this tension and this malaise, which I found really, really good. And then all of that, of course, culminates, no spoilers, but in a really viscerally upsetting and grotesque finale, which I had a great time with, because I was laughing my head off, but at the same time just really a bit queasy throughout. And I mean, it made Carrie look like a really good time at the prom.
Yeah, there's lots of sploshing and splurting and dripping and crunching and broken bones and fingernails doing stuff that you don't want to know about. No, absolutely. I'm 100% with you. There was also, it has to be said, there's also some kind of strangely moving moments as well amongst the burlesque. So, for instance, or the Grand Guignol, maybe. There's a moment where Demi Moore is preparing, Elizabeth Sparkle, of course, her character, is preparing to go out for a normal date, let's say, a non-Hollywood and she goes out, she's on her way out the door, and she keeps sort of seeing things outside her window, a big billboard, and going back and reassessing her own looks. And the look on her face as she regards herself in the mirror, the dissatisfaction with her appearance, her attempt to modify her appearance, to accentuate something and not something else, to, her breasts or her lipstick or her makeup or whatever. There was something, I'm 51 years old, coming up to 52. And although I would never compare the beauty myth for men to women necessarily, it's not the same weight, but it is there. And I've definitely had those moments where I've looked at myself in the mirror and thought, oh no, I wish I looked a bit better, a little bit younger, etc., etc. And there is that sadness when you look at yourself and go, well, you're not going to ever get back to that.
Yeah, and I think the film judges that rather well and balances it well, because it is, like you say, Grand Guignol, it is over the top, and you are supposed to have fun. But at the end of the day, there is this simmering sadness behind it, because,
It took a lifetime to find the person you want to marry. Finding the perfect engagement ring is a lot easier. At BlueNile.com, you can find or design the ring you've always dreamed of, with help from Blue Nile's jewelry experts, who are on hand 24/7 to answer questions, and the ease and convenience of shopping online. For a limited time, get $50 off your purchase of $500 or more with code LISTEN at BlueNile.com. That's $50 off with code LISTEN at BlueNile.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states.
Like I said, just these characters, specifically women who are pushed to extremes because they have no other choice, and that sort of ageism, that sort of internalized misogyny, whether or not it is tragic. And by no means am I saying that this is like some deceptively rich piece that it's there to have a good time, but it has something to say, it has something to satirize, and again, I just think that she's done it. And for a second film, I mean, my God, I mean, that's a woman with a true voice. I was at the press conference, actually. Maybe this was Dennis Quaid kind of over-egging the pudding a little bit, but I mean, he described the director, Coralie Fargeat, as a mix between Stanley Kubrick and Sam Peckinpah. And I thought, let's not whoa there, Petal, but at the same time, yes, it is a very fully realised, very confident voice, and I'm actually really hoping that it wins something. I don't know whether that can replicate the same success that Titan had in 2021, I think it was, the Julia Ducournau film. But it would be great if a film like that, I could see that winning the jury prize quite easily.
Or Demi Moore winning the Best Actress.
Potentially, yeah. No, Demi Moore would be a very, very good shout for that. And so, yeah, but I don't think it will go home empty-handed, just purely because it is such a jolt. And that's what you kind of, I don't know about you, but you come to Cannes for, to get to be surprised, to kind of like be really like, you know, for something to reach out of the screen and like grab you by the guts for, you know, 2 hours plus, and then just like refusing to let go. And that's what this did for me. I think the only kind of thing that I will say against it is a bit long.
Yeah, all films are. It's almost like there needs to be a button on our typewriters that save us time by saying, the length is a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
I would push back a little bit. You said earlier that you don't think it's a particularly rich film or deceptive. It has deceptive depths or anything like that. I would disagree. I think this is a really, really confident film that has a lot to say and will reward multiple viewings. I would also reference another number, just a sheer breadth of cinematic knowledge on display in this film. So you've got a Vertigo reference in the music. There's a Gremlins reference in the fact that you've got 3 rules very explicitly laid out, which you cannot break, and midnight comes into it. And you cannot break them.
Well done, John.
And of course, inevitably, that's Chekhov's Gremlin. That's Chekhov's midnight snack.
I like that. And it's true. It is a very cinema-literate film, and you've got that musical reference also to 2001.
That was another thing, because that references Kubrick, of course, but it also references the Barbie trailer.
This is true,
and I think this is in real conversation with Barbie.
Thank you, absolutely, because of the garish colours, and we saw it in Revenge with this kind of, as you said, this candy-coloured kind of revenge flick, which was so good. I had such a good time with Revenge in 2017, and this really, you're absolutely right. There is a conversation to be had with Barbie, purely because I know I was actually speaking to one of our colleagues yesterday who said that she was a little bit disappointed by Barbie because she was expecting so much with regards to, conversation around misogyny and the patriarchy. And I think, despite the fact that I do stick to my guns, I don't think it is the most profound film, The Substance, but I think it says a hell of a lot more about internalized misogyny than Barbie does, and it plays with some of the similar colours. And considering Greta Gerwig is the president of the jury, maybe this is a really good omen, and hopefully the jury will see that and be able to award it something. Again, jury prize. Fuck it, go for the Palm. Am I allowed to say fuck on this podcast?
Yes, you are now.
Fuck.
So there you have it. I think it's a substantial substance, and David had a great time and thinks it's worthy of the Palm. So I would not be disappointed if this won the Palm at the moment. I mean, I've been waiting for a surprise. I've been waiting for a wonderful film, and I got probably 2 in the stage of a couple of days, so I'm quite happy.
We're on a good streak at the moment, because I mean it was a bit slow starting this festival. I've really enjoyed it so far, just purely because even if I haven't enjoyed some of the films, Metropolis, but at the same time, Megalopolis. Sorry, I fucked that up. Another fuck. But yeah, I'm really glad that I saw them, and there's a variety. It's a very eclectic selection, and between Emilia Perez, the Jacques Audiard, and now this, and I'm really, really hoping that Ali Abbasi with The Apprentice, or even David Cronenberg might, with The Shrouds
tonight.
So I'm looking forward to that, and who knows, there might be surprises in the second half, because we are only kind of halfway through the competition selection. So, but for me right now, it is between Emilia Perez and The Substance. And both share one common factor, one common denominator, which is that they've been surprising, that they've really swung for the fences, and whether or not you gel with them, whether or not you like them as much as we do, that's not a problem. Great. I mean, all God's children. But at the same time, these are films which really show people moving out of their comfort zones for Audiard, or moving into another kind of facet of their comfort zone, and really, taking a big swing and just being brilliant.
Yeah, we want divisive films. We want films we can argue about. Yeah. We want films we can have good discussions with. And I often think as well, horror has to be. It has to be something that pushes at the boundaries, and that boundaries are also our political boundaries. So, for instance, hagsploitation. There have been a lot of critiques recently of hagsploitation, but our nightmares don't necessarily work around what we agree upon. They go right for the throat. They're not. I hate the phrase politically correct, but there we are.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more on that one. And again, no one, if people have seen and choose to kind of use that sort of criticism with regards to the substance, for instance, more power to you. I personally didn't feel that it was exploitative in that way, or that there was a kind of male gaze, should we say, with regards to the way it's filmed, because I know that's another criticism that's been levelled against the substance. But no, I think it really knows what it's doing.
But could I just I don't mind it being exploitative. There's plenty of great cinema which is exploitation cinema, isn't there?
Exactly. And with regards to the themes that the substance is exploring, because it is addressing the Hollywood system, this kind of very, I don't want to say, corrupt, but also just toxic as well, specifically with the way it treats its female performers, then at that point, yes, why not use the same tools, the kind of Aesop's fable kind of thing, of the eagle shot by the arrow kind of thing. And it's, I don't know, I just really thought that this worked in a really, really clever, very shrewd sort of way. And I'm really hoping that the competition yields more films like that, in the same way that, I remember coming out of Titan in 2021 and just unable to speak and just going, right, well, I'm not one to make films, my personality out of a film, but for the next few hours, yes, please.
Brilliant. Okay, well, that's wonderful, David. Thanks so much for joining me once more. I knew you wanted to talk about this film. We watched it together.
Yeah.
So you said, let's do a podcast on that, and I'm glad to oblige.
No, thank you, John, because, as you know, I'm a big fan of horror cinema and genre cinema in general, and I wouldn't say I saw this one coming a mile off, but I remember that first still that was released prior to the festival, which is the suited up kind of body, with those
stitches,
the stitches, the surgical stitches on the suture, exactly, the surgical stitches on a very pristine bathroom floor, and this long flowing kind of silk robe with what seems to be a dragon on it. And I was just like, yes, sold. Whatever this is, I want, and I want now. And I can't wait to watch it again.
Yeah, this is a film that when you say inject it into my veins, it might be a little bit too literal.
Yeah, oh God, yeah. And that is worth actually saying. Anyone who has any kind of revulsion or any kind of
needle phobia,
wounds with pus, and I have to admit, I don't know about you, this is maybe to me, I'm not too keen on belly buttons, and there was a moment, again, no major spoiler, but there was a moment featuring a belly button, and that orifice shouldn't have been stretched that hard, and good God, man, it was one of those moments where I was wincing away, just going, no, why would you stand in the way of progress? That one really, really got me. But again, I love films that make me do that provoke such a visceral reaction, and this did it in the same way that, again, not comparable, but Emilia Perez provoked this kind of just joyful,
joy,
exactly,
vitality,
this explosion of just cinema. It was great. Well, thank you for having me on again.
Brilliant. Take care. This is where I say, oh no.
1-800-Flowers.com knows that a gift is never just a gift. A gift is an expression of everything you feel and helps build more meaningful relationships. 1-800-Flowers takes the pressure off by helping you navigate life's important moments by making it simple to find the perfect gift. From flowers and cookies to cake and chocolate, 1-800-Flowers helps guide you in finding the right gift to say how you feel. To learn more, visit 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST.
Cue the fireplace and your favorite fall movie. There's nothing better than a cozy evening at home with a glass of First Leaf wine. First Leaf is a personalized wine club that delivers right to your door. Sounds magical, right? They get to know your favorite tasting notes, which varietals you enjoy, and whether you prefer sweet or dry wines. So in every shipment, you get bottles tailored to your unique palate. Go to tryfirstleaf.com/fall to get your first 6 wines for just $44.95 with free shipping.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.